Hey guys, thanks for joining. If you're just connecting, hop on over to the chat box. I'm not sure if it depends. If you're on your phone, it's at the bottom. If it's on your PC, it might be on the left hand side. So hop on into the chat box and shout yourself out. Let us know what you're on, where you're from. No, okay. You don't need to give all those details, but give me a quick shout out and a hello. If you're joining us as we get connected here, I'm just um, posting all the links to the groups so that you guys can connect with us. But today we're going to be talking a little bit about incentives because we all love incentives so much, and they are super fun. And I would love for more of us to be earning them. So I'm going to be sharing some tips and tricks, um, some ideas for how to plan out your incentives, how to um, track for your incentives, and how to just kind of get ready or prepare yourself to achieve incentives. And Avon has a lot coming up. They've got a lot going on. So this is the time to get plugged in with incentives. So I love Avon incentives, but I didn't always. I was one of those people who, when I started, I said, that's not me. I'll never be one of those people. And I sort of set myself up to not even participate because I didn't think that I would ever earn anything. I never thought that I could be one of those people. So I know what it's like starting off as a new rep and sort of feeling like, oh, that's not for me, or not paying attention when incentives were announced, just because, you think that you don't. Either you don't deserve it, or that you'll never earn it, you don't have the tools, the resources, the skills, the customer base, the team size, etc. But I'm just going to be real with you guys today and share some of the things that I do to prepare. And I'm also going to share some of the tips to help those of you who maybe you've never earned an incentive before and you don't know where to begin, or you feel like I did, that this is something that you won't be able to earn. And I'm going to share my story of how I earned my first incentive and how ever since then I've been continuing to earn for a variety of incentives. So who do we have in the chat box? Caritza. Hey, how are you? Clarissa, sorry, I'm blind and the computer is all the way over there. She says, yeah, she's that kind of person to set herself up for failure. I didn't realize how many of us do it, but reflecting back on myself, sometimes even watching myself now, and talking to my teammates and working with them for coaching and training, a lot of the times I'm realizing that before we even begin, we're just like, oh, that doesn't apply to me. We don't show up for the meeting for the incentive because we figure we're not going to win it, we're not going to earn it, that isn't for us. We don't do the workshops, we don't go to the webinars. And the initial stages, the pre-plan, like when you get on the airplane, when you're getting ready to fly, when you're getting on the airplane, the pilots and the crew, they have their pre-flight checklist. They have a bunch of things that they do to prepare for the flight. So, they clean the flight, they check all the gauges and make sure that the plane is full of gas. They balance the plane so that the cargo, the passengers, the fuel, all of it is balanced so that the plane could fly properly. They check all the gauges. They check all the connections to make sure, hopefully, that they're sound so that the plane will hold together while it's in flight. And we do that too in our business. We have to have our own pre-flight checklist to make sure that we're prepared for incentives. I mean, we do also need to have another. I think we need to have like separate pre-flight checklists. I'm that person, I know how I work, and whenever I'm doing something, I kind of have a system of my own. And anytime I stray from that system, it's sort of like disaster because I'm just not um, prepared. I prepare by going through my checklist, and the more often I do something, the better at it I get. So these are some of the things that you want to keep in mind. You want to have your checklist, you want to practice beforehand, just like racers and boxers and people who are in sports, because you don't just jump into the ring or jump into the competition and expect to be prepared. There's got to be a level of preparation ahead of time. But before you even start that preparation, you have to put yourself in the mindset. And here in the Ants Team Live training, we are all about mindset, because we all know that it starts in here. Before we, do the actions, before we do the workshops, before we talk to anybody, the battle is won or lost right up here. And I don't want you guys to be losing the overall battle just because of what's happening between your two ears. So I'm going to give you some things that'll help you today, that will sort of guide you through. And I just need to put a little bit of a disclaimer. These are things that I do. These are things that work for me. It's going to be different from you. A lot of the things that I do are things that I have watched other leaders do or read about in leadership and personal development booklets, and even stuff that I've done that are systems that I developed for myself in the beginning have changed over time. So, by no means you feel like this is the end all be all, that this is the way things have to be done. I am learning and growing as well. So, there's got to be a level of expectancy when it comes to learning and growing. You have to be prepared for that. I'm sorry, my mirror is like really lopsided. Like, what happened here? So sorry, the OCD in me is like, why are you crooked? But so we always work on mindset. And if this is your first time on our Ants Team Live training, go back to the videos that we've done before. Definitely 100% subscribe, because we are here every Tuesday talking tips and talking about mindset, and sharing and encouraging each other, so that the obstacles that some of us are going through, either others can avoid or be prepared for when that time comes around. But here we work on what's happening between the ears, the mental battle. We're sort of like, yoga for business, I guess. um so, as Clarissa said, that she unknowingly earned the Aspiro gym bag and journal, and then again earned the Aspiro headphones and tote. So yay! And she's looking forward to earning so much more. Thank you, Clarissa, for sharing that. I think that one of the things that are so important. I love that Avon has done this Aspira incentive, because I actually had a lot of reps on my team as well who earned a variety of levels for this incentive, and many of them didn't even know that they were earning it, just like Clarissa. But one of the things that let me just go through my list, my to-do list, so that you guys could follow along. But I love that Clarissa shared that. I love that so many people are earning these incentives, and I really love that Avon is opening up incentives so that more people can get a taste for the earning success. The feeling of knowing that your business earned you something, that you won something, that you accomplished something. Even for regardless of the size of the milestone, I should say, not even for, because it's not a small incentive, it was a big incentive, but for a variety of things. I think sometimes we're only looking at the big trips, the cruises, the vacations, the cars, the $5,000, $7,000, $6,000 bonuses, and it becomes easier to lose sight of the small things. But those things are just as important, because for a lot of people, those are the bridge or the gateway to earning the bigger prizes. So let me rewind a little bit and bring you back to baby Avon Rep Georgie. Not as far back as high school. We're gonna fast forward a little bit, but after graduation from college, when I made the decision to get a little bit more serious about my Avon business, and when I really started to imagine the possibilities of this business becoming, real supplemental income, the possibility of retiring and living off of my Avon income, the possibilities of my Avon income, hey Milagros, being a big contributor to paying off my debt and helping me save for retirement. My area ran a local incentive, and the incentive was to find 30 teammates, 30 new teammates, aka 30 recruits, in 30 days. And let me tell you, this was the first incentive where I said, okay, I'm going to go for it. I'm going to try it. I didn't at the time have a list of 30 to work with. My team, I don't even think I had 30 people on my team yet at the time. We were still a pretty small team. I had never done an incentive before. I had never, I was still in the, prior to the day of the announcement of this incentive, I was still 100% in the mindset of, yeah, those people. But this incentive came out, and it was something that I wanted. At the time, like I said, I had just graduated from school. I hadn't started working yet. And I was just starting to dive into my Avon business. And the incentive, one of the prizes for the incentive was a little cruise around Manhattan. And I think getting at that time we used to all chip in and contribute to having our district or division meetings, and I think it was like $25 per meeting. We used to have one meeting per quarter. So I did the math really quick and I said, okay, the way I interpreted the incentive was, I thought that by earning the incentive, you would get free admission to all of the events. Did the math real quick, and I said, okay, that's an extra $100 that I saved for the year, and a little cruise with a little dinner. That's nice. I would love to do that. And I think it was, what was that? Like car fare or transportation to and from one of the events. And I'm in the city, and the events tended to be a little further out in no man's land for me. At the time, I wasn't even driving. So I did the math on that and I said, okay, $10 both way plus cab fare, that's maybe another $25-$30 I was saving, for a grand total of $130 that I was saving. But with my budget, I was like, you know what? This is an extra $130 back in my pocket. Let me see if I could get that. So I went for this incentive, and let me tell you, I think it was the hardest I had ever worked. Definitely the hardest I had ever worked for any incentive, because it was my first incentive at the time. But I remember I wanted it so bad. I made my list. I started off and said, okay, I need 30 people. So the first thing I do is, what I just rattled off to you. What were the incentive goals? What do I earn? And then what do I need to do? 30 recruits in 30 days. At that time, they didn't even need to place an order. I believe it was, excuse me, excuse me. It was just to sign up. What is this? Sorry. And now the allergies kick in. Stop. Okay. So yeah, the next thing was to know what I had to do to earn 30 recruits, 30 days. Just, find 30 other people to join the company within that 30-day time period. The next thing I did was look at the amount of time that I had. Okay, 30 days was easy. It wasn't like, thank you, Lucia. I need all the blessings I can get. So yes, thank you. So 30 days was easy. It wasn't by campaigns or by months. So I just, day one is when it started. Day 30 was when it was ending. I just needed to know when it started. I need to know the deadline for when it ended. And then I divided it up. If I needed 30 recruits in 30 days, again, another easy thing. I was averaging about 1 recruit per day, 7 recruits per week. But of course, you know how these things go. Sometimes the people you plan to partner with, or to coach or encourage or to connect with, sometimes it doesn't pan out. It could be an issue with time, an issue with not being able to meet up. Back then we did have the online appointment system, but we weren't really appointing online like we do now. We used to meet up and do kits, so you have to plan for that too. So I said to myself, 30 in 30 days. What I would say to myself now, 2020 hindsight looking back, and what I want to encourage you guys to do is not to just go for what the specific incentive says, but to give yourself a little padding, a little additional room, a seam allowance for those of you sewers. You need a little extra just in case. So now looking back, I would have said to myself, okay, well, if they're saying 30, set your goal for 40 or for 60 and go for 2 per day and 14 per week. So just kind of pad it. The other thing that I would go back and tell my former self was not to try and track for 30 by the 30th day, but to front load the incentive. And I still try to do that. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't work out, but I found that by working really hard in the beginning, just to sort of lay the foundation and get the information out there, and just sort of prepare myself for later on, it tends to work out better, because I found that with this incentive, it was 30 and 30. I evenly distributed it, and I said, okay, I just need 30 recruits in the 30 days, 1 recruit per day. But what I found was, maybe at the end of the first 7 days, maybe I only had 1, or maybe I only had 2. So now I was behind. And that happens often with incentives. Even when I try to pad and try to front load it, it still happens. But I found that the more I pad it in the front, the more I try to knock out in the beginning, the better chance I have of, not falling short, because I'm trying in the beginning to double my efforts. So, you want to, I say go for double. If it, with this incentive, it was 30, I really should have been going for 60. With current Avon incentives, if they're saying, 3 or 6, go for 6 or 12. So that is the second thing that I would have told myself back then, but didn't know it back then, went for my 30 and 30. And I found myself out every single day. And like I said, I just really started to be serious about the business. Um maybe about a year into, like, okay, I'm really working this like a business. And I remember there was this one day, it was snowing, but I was down like 13, and I was like, I need to get these 13 people. It is snowing, it is 30 degrees outside, but I still need to be out, because the plan was I needed to get one person per day, and now I'm behind, so I need to get 7 people today. I don't even remember if I found anybody that day, but for me, it was just the discipline. So that is something else that you want to be mindful of. And again, I always say the battle starts up here. It is about your mindset. Your discipline will have a huge impact. Now, one of the things we say often, and that you might hear often, especially from representatives who have been around for a few years, you might hear us say things like reach for the moon, fall among the stars. And that is one of the things that is influenced by your discipline. Because if you get yourself in the habit of really working your business consistently, whether it's an hour every day, and I think at that time, I I think at that point, by the time this incentive rolled around, I was working, because I remember my goal was I had like 2 hours in the evening after work. So I would go to my day job. Yeah, at that time I had started working already. So I was just transitioning into, it was like my first, I think that was my first year of starting to work full time. Like I had just started to work full time the month or two before that. But so I said, okay, I would go to work, and then after work, I would have like 2 hours before dark. Again, I told you it's snowing, so we're talking about winter here. I had maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours before it starts to get dark, and that was the time that I was going to go out and do my activities before I had to head home. And I just got into that habit of consistently being out every single day. And I remember this one particular day, it was snowing out, and my district manager called me, my former district manager, and I was talking to her, and she was like, "Are those cars in the background? Is that wind? Where are you?" And I told her where I was, and I told her what I was doing. She was like, "Are you kidding me? Are you out there in the cold, doing an event?" And I was like, "I have to reach my goal. I'm 7 people down. I cannot afford to miss a day. What if my golden nugget, what if that person who is looking for the opportunity is out here today and I miss them?" And she was like, "I'm coming." And I was like, "No, no, no, it's snowing, it's cold, you don't need to be out here." And she's like, "I'm coming." So, she pulled up, she stood out there with me in the snow for maybe a half an hour or 45 minutes. I don't know. But I remember by the end of it, we couldn't even feel our toes. There just happened to be a restaurant right there on the corner. So it got to the point where the pens had stopped working. That gets, people will stop and talk to you in the cold, but if your tools and supplies aren't working, then that just doesn't help. So we got to the point where we were like, okay, you know what? It's cold and windy, it's snowing, the snow is messing up the display. We had to put the paper things away because they were getting wet. The pens at this point were so frozen, they had stopped working. We couldn't feel our fingers and toes. And because it was getting dark and colder, there were fewer and fewer people out. So the return on our investment was decreasing. So we said, okay, let's just call it quits and go inside and have some soup and Chinese. And that was one of the moments that I think that moment stood out to me the most for that incentive. But my takeaways that the reason why I'm sharing that story with you, the takeaways that I want to share were, first and foremost, the focus and the determination, like Alicia said, just having that goal in front of me and having kept track of how far I needed to go to get to my goal was what drove me. And I find that you really have to know, and you really have to consistently track where you need to be and where you are. I think a lot of times we know what the goal is and we know we have to get there, but we don't know where we are along the chart of getting there. And I think the 30 and 30 was a great way to, I mean, it was a high intensity incentive and it was tough, but looking back, I appreciated it because the goals were so clear, the time frame was so clear. It was easy to say, okay, I'm in day 18 of this. I should have 18 new teammates. How many do I have? 5. Okay. Well, the difference is, what I'm short. If I'm supposed to have 18 and I only have 8, I know I needed another 10 people. So it was easy to track where I was supposed to be and how far I had to go. And I don't think we do that often enough. And if you don't, you have to be really careful because it can cost you an incentive. You could think you have um, 29 on day 29 when you only have 27. So if you're not, if you're kind of just ballparking it and brainstorming or even using Avon system, I mean, Avon system is a lot better now because hi Misty, thanks for joining us. Right now the Avon system is a lot better because it updates like practically every hour. But back then you had to, it was like, I don't even think it was daily. I think there was a bigger lag in the update. So what I did was I made a list. I told you in the beginning, I made a list and I love, just a random note, but these friction pens, these are Pilot friction pen. I use these things for everything. I use these for note taking for my classes and I use them for my Avon incentives because they come in different colors. I've got black, I've got purple, orange. There's a red on the floor because I was just using it. But I like these pens because they are erasable. That doesn't seem like a big deal, but what I love about that is when I'm doing, sometimes I'll do something in, like what I'll normally start off with is listing all of my names in maybe pencil. All of my potentials, all the people that I can reach out to, friends, family members, co-workers, people who used to be a part of my team who maybe, let their business go, you know, let their business lapse, or people who I had spoken to who we hadn't yet made the connection to get appointed. I'll just do a quick brainstorm and put their names down. If you're a new representative, you've done something like this. You with the who do you know list, the list of people that 40 to 50 people within your social circle, people that you come into contact with that you could connect with. So those people at the beginning of the incentive, Avon puts out an incentive and they tell you how many people you need. I say, okay, well, let me put down my people in pencil. Then when I have like the minimum requirement that Avon gives me, I try to go beyond that. Sometimes I can, sometimes I can't, but sometimes I'll really try to go at least like 1.5 times what Avon has laid out to me. So if they say 10, I'll put down 10 and I'll try to add another 15 or 20. If they say 30, I'll put down 30 and I'll try to add another 15 or additional 30. So that goes down in pencil. And then as I contact those people, I will put, I don't have the red one now. I'll put their name in another color. Let's say for now, purple. So as I contact them and as they get started and as they, we get connected with each other, I'll change the color of their name. So the pencil gets erased and they get written in pen, which is a little more permanent. So now when I look at my list, I can quickly count off on my list, how many people are on helping me track towards the incentive and how many people I still need to contact or how many people are not working out. Sometimes you'll contact the person on, maybe you can't get in contact with them, or maybe they just say, no, that's not for me, or now's not a right time, can you call me back in 6 months? And you're like, I'm on the clock, I got an incentive to go for, this is not going to work out here. So that person will get erased and I'll have to fill them in with another name from the bottom. So like for the 30 and 30 incentive, the 30 are the people that I'm working with, and then the extra now, those names now get filled into the spaces of the people whose names were erased because it's just not the right time for them right now. So the people whose names are in the first color, for now, let's just say purple, those are the people who have opened their account and that I'm now working with. So now these are people that I know I need to follow up with. Back then for that incentive, it was good enough to just have them sign up, but now with a lot of Avon incentives we have to connect with the person and help them to make a successful order. And I'm not arguing with that. I actually believe that is the best thing, because we are not in the business of signing up the goldfish and cat and the neighbor and people just for the sake of saying, hey, I have a name to put on this piece of paper. We are in the business of empowering others. So we are to work with other people to help them to build successful businesses, not just come put your name here so that I can be done with you. That's not what it's about. We're leaders, not I don't know, form fillers. So so those people in First Color Purple, I know that I'm working with. We're tracking, we're doing trainings, we're working together. I'm connecting them with them to see how their orders are going, if they have any questions, and I'm showing them how to reach whatever incentives are available to them. Because usually, another thing that I love about this business is that incentives that help us as leaders also help our teammates. So we're getting rewarded for helping our teammates reach their goals. So that's how I look at it. Right now we have an incentive called Kickstart. If you're new representatives, if you're a new rep, when you hit certain sales goals, you get your 40% bonus. Plus, if you hit all of the sales goals and the recruiting goals, you get another $200 bonus. So as leaders, there's like an additional incentive for us to work with and partner with those people. So sometimes they get it, sometimes they don't. Some people, maybe they've joined the company, but they're not, maybe they're just customer representatives. Although I've had customer representatives who have still managed to hit all of their sales goals because, they are serious Avon lovers, or because they started out as a customer representative who realized the potential in the business opportunity and, are now turning it into a business. So, that can go either way, but sometimes it's hit or miss. Some people are slower starters than others. That's okay. I'm going to be honest with you. I was a slow start representative, and I'm so glad that the people who I work with, my district managers, didn't look at me and say, well, she's not doing it, I'm not even going to bother with her. So, I still, even, the people on my team who might be slow starters, I still work with and I still connect with, and I let them know, hey, maybe you didn't get it right now, but that is not the end all and be all. There's still a chance for you. Let's keep tracking. Let's see what else we can earn, because like I said, I didn't think I could earn incentives in the beginning, so I didn't track for them. So if someone wrote me off in the beginning, and I've had people, there were a couple of people in my life who wrote me off and said, okay, you'll never amount to anything, and they let me go. But thank God for the ones who didn't. And my own um hard-headedness. So Milagro says, oh yes, and as a new leader, as a new representative with the Kickstart program, you do get an extra $50 for every qualified new team member that you bring in, and it is unlimited. Yes, Milagros, we love that, and it is great for new representatives because you can see the money early on. And I keep telling my teammates, don't sleep on this, because it's something that makes us want to, when we're just getting started, we kind of have the mindset where we're like, okay, I just want to get in and learn everything. I want to be timid and scared. And it's like, no, jump in, get your both feet wet. So the incentive that Milagro shared in the chat box is one of the things that one of the incentives that reward you for getting both your feet wet. So going back to your list, when you have your people in your first color, ours is purple. If they do make the incentive, I will change their name to another color, usually blue or red, something that stands out. And I'm like, okay, this person made it, final, good to go. Everyone else, like all the people who are still in purple, I know I'm still following up with. If they are in purple and they don't make it within the time frame, or if the next opportunity for them to make it maybe falls outside of the time range, I still erase them, because at this point I've got to take another name to the bottom and fill in that list. I can't keep looking at my list and saying, oh yeah, I have 40 people, I have 40 people, I have 40 people, when really and truly some of them are not counting towards the incentive anymore. So those names come off my list. I still keep following up with them, I still keep working with them, but for the purposes of this incentive, their name has got to come off the list and another name has to go into the slot. So this is where it comes in handy to do a couple of things. One, if you can pre-fill your list with as many names as possible, great. The more the better. The next thing is you constantly have to keep continuing to work, because like I said, things happen. You might have a person on your list you contact who's not interested, or they're not interested right now in a time frame that's going to help your incentive, or they do join, but maybe they're not hitting the sales goals, or off to a slow start. So there are a couple of different things that can happen. So you want to have people that are still coming into your funnel to fill in those names. So even when I look at my list, even if I have my full 30, and then I've got a full maybe another 15, I'm still out there talking to people and sharing, making contacts, making connections, networking, building my contact list, and adding their names in at the bottom, so that I can fill them into the list as I go along. Because if you just look at your static list and say, okay, these are my 30 people, these are the people I'm going to work with, like I said, there are a couple of different things that can happen that will cause them to fall off of your list. If you don't have anything else to put back in that list, you're not going to have any new names, and you're going to be on day 30 like, oh shoot, I need to get out there and find, more people. But if you're going through the process of connecting or contacting the people that are already on your list, and also connecting to other people, your list will be growing. So even as you're working through the people on your list, you're adding names into the bottom as well. So as you go through, like sometimes I've had incentives where I think it was Bahamas. It could be Bahamas or the TV. I can't remember now, but I've had incentives where I've had my list and I'm like, okay, these are the people I'm going to work with. Either they are people who are already on the team, I'm just waiting for that first order, or connections that I made who are getting ready to start, or people who said they were going to register, or people that I connected with networking, and they expressed some interest, and I just needed to follow up, and I had my list and it was set. And there were times where every single name on that list did not make it into my did not stay on the list through the end. So your list will change, but the important thing is to have new names that you are constantly adding to the list. So it's a work in progress, and you have to be prepared for that. Now, also, let me remind again, I am I know there are a lot of representatives out there who will say, it's easy peasy, piece of cake, day one of the incentive, they've earned all the qualifications. I'm going to be honest with you. I am not that person. There's no shame in my game. I am just not at that point yet. I am just glad right now to be earning incentives. A lot of times I just come in at the very end, like I barely make it. To be honest with you, again, not gonna lie, full transparency here, I made the Bermuda incentive in the last campaign. So it varies for everyone. I'm not telling you that for you to say, oh well, it's hard, let's just not do it. I'm telling you that because I know it's a growth system. I know that some people find it easy because they are at that point in their business where they have a contact list of maybe 400 and they could work through their whole list. I am making up my list of 30. So, and as I said, sometimes the names are working, sometimes they're not. But I'm sharing this with you so that you can say to yourself, okay, look, Georgiana is also working and struggling and hustling to get there. So if she can do this, so can I. And I will also say to you, I don't have a list of 5,000 people to reach out to. So I'm constantly, on a day-to-day basis, talking to people as well. And, I'm not saying that, anybody who does say that it's a piece of cake and this is easy peasy and I made it in a day doesn't have, isn't hustling. I'm not saying that either. I'm just saying that you need to know that having to work hard doesn't it shouldn't be a reason why you shouldn't try, or having to work hard at it, or being able to look ahead and see, okay, this is going to be hard for me, shouldn't be enough to take you out of the running. Because I think I can honestly say, for every single incentive that I've earned, I've had to hustle and, go through my sleepless nights of wondering whether or not I'm going to make it. That's the point where I'm at in my business right now. But at the end of the day, looking back, when I'm going to be on this cruise this Saturday, is it going to matter that, only half of the people on my original list, or a third of the people from my original list, were a part of earning this incentive? Or is it going to matter whether I earned the incentive on the first day or on the last day? No, I made it. So I want you guys to get into the mindset too of, these are the things, these are the the parts of my pre-flight checklist that I'm going to go through. If I make it, awesome, great, I made it. If not, I'm still going to fall among the stars, because let me tell you the things that I've learned from my successes and failures with incentives. First and foremost, I can, with that first incentive, for me, it was the biggest mental barrier breakdown of my business career. I that was my first incentive that I earned, and then all of a sudden I was like, oh my gosh, I could be one of those people. There's not much separating me from those people. And I realized that the gap, the difference between me and those people was really nothing at all, nothing aside from my own mindset. I had put those people into their category, and I had put myself in another category, and I thought I could never be one of those people. But by achieving that incentive, I showed myself and I proved to myself that I could. Another incentive that I had was the TV, this guy right here. I don't even think you guys could see it. You could probably see like the back corner of it. But this black thing over here is a TV that I earned through an Avon incentive. Now, that was for me a mental barrier breakdown for my friends and family, because earning the 30 and 30, going to the cruise, that was something that I got to experience, but only me. Having this TV, this 46-inch flat screen, show up on my doorstep and have my family say, where the heck did that come from? Was an opportunity for them to say, hold up, Georgie's doing a little something different with her business. She's getting stuff now. And, each incentive that I earned was a different, wait, where did this giant coffee maker come from? You spent $300 on a coffee machine and you're only working part-time. And I got the chance to say, no, I won it through Avon. When I started walking around with an iPad, I don't even know where it is. When the iPad showed up at my door and I was doing my happy dance and I won tech, my family was like, okay, I see you. So it started to change the mindset of the people around me as well when I started to continue and go for other incentives. So it was like barrier after barrier, mental barrier broken down. My first huge incentive was the Bermuda cruise. I had to think about it. Sorry, Bahamas cruise. I was just saying I had to think about it because I keep confusing Bermuda and Bahamas, and I'm still confusing it. But the Bermuda, no, the Bahamas trip was my first huge incentive. And for me, it was another moment of, okay, it's you against, not you against, but it's you and those people. Like, where do you fall? Can you be one of those people? And even for my family, I never traveled before. Yes, I won the Tahiti trip, but I didn't earn it, so I put it in a different category. But even for my family, again, seeing okay, Georgiana just earned a trip out of the country with her Avon business. My friends that I share with, I'm going to be away from me, pray for traveling mercies for them, to see that, all of a sudden, to post the pictures on social media and to share, all of a sudden, it's something that was like, okay, this is me doing this. I can do this. The gap, I am the same person that I've always been, but now I'm also achieving this stuff. So there's no gap between me and those people. The whole those people category was imaginary. And this is something that if Georgie can do, you can do too. My team can do too. My friends can do too. And my family, this is not only the 1% elite of Avon, can accomplish this. This is something that, okay, if you work at it, and if you do some planning, and if you have that determination and that consistency and those action steps to make it, then you can do this. Because Georgiana doesn't have a humongous contact list or humongous team. She's not that super outgoing person. She doesn't have unlimited time on her hands. She's got other activities. She's not that social media guru. She's not 100% up there, but she did it, so maybe I can too. And I have to be honest, sometimes I have to step back and say, okay, I did this. And I kind of have that moment where it's like, wow, that's really cool. But it's just because I know myself, and I know I'm not the I made it in one day kind of person. So I wanted to share those tips with you, and I hope that it helps you guys to sort of lay out your plan. Um, and prepare for incentives, because Avon has some really great ones going on right now. And some of the ones that I really wanted to point out to you were the rapid promotion for new representatives and the build like a boss incentive. I do have some tickets to scratch off. I will get to this week's a little bit crazy. Definitely want to get to that, but I do have some tickets to scratch, so I will be doing that. I've got a couple of videos to make. I feel like every time I come on here, I'm like, dang, there are a couple of videos I need to make. But between Build Like a Boss with the scratch off tickets and Rapid Incentive, these are two incentives that um, are really great. The Build Like a Boss incentive is awesome because there is no, 10 or 30 or 25 goal. This is you get one person to that you connect with and work with, you get a ticket. If it's one, great. If it's 10, awesome. But don't, it's not for you to just say, oh, I'm not going to do that because I can't make 30. Do one. And if you could do one, great. Get another one. And if you could do that one, great. Get two more. And if you get those two more, awesome. Go for another three. Just keep going for whatever intensive time frame. This ends in 10. So this like this week. We've got 2 more weeks to go. And you guys might be looking at this and saying, I only have a week. This is not, you can do it. Even if within the next week and a half, or what is this, it's Tuesday? So let's say a week. If you get one for the week, that is one that you've gotten. Clarissa, I think it was Clarissa, in the chat box Clarissa was sharing how she accidentally earned her Spira incentive. Does anybody care right now whether or not she knew about it or not? She earned it. She's got those bragging rights. She's got the materials and the tools. She's got her images for her social media to prove that she did it. Right now, all that matters is that she got it done. So go ahead, get one. Go over this week. See if you get one. And if you can, see if you can get two. Set a goal for yourself. How much time do you have? 7 days? Can you get 7? I don't know. Maybe not. But try. You won't know unless you do. And that was my other huge takeaway from my first incentive. That whole, I didn't know if I could do it. I'd never earned an incentive before. I didn't think I could, honestly. I really wasn't sure. Like, really, honestly and truly, I prayed every day because I was like, I don't know if I could do this. I don't know if this is going to work. But even if I don't get 30 and I get 5 or I get 10, I'm a lot closer to my overall goal than I would have been otherwise. So this is just something to get me fired up as I go. And one of the things that I kept saying was, you know what, though? If I can do it, it's going to be really great that I could. And, to be able to prove to myself that I can. So with this, we've just got a week left, but try to prove to yourself that you can. Because right now, just proving to yourself that you can get one, maybe when the next incentive comes around, you'll be able to say, you know what? I was able to get 1 or 5 in that last week. So, I'm going to start from the beginning and see if I can get, 10 or 15 by the end. Or even if it's just 3 by the end, whatever it is. But you'll say, you know what? Last time I got 1. So this time around, I'm going to go and see if I get another one. And then the rapid incentive program for new representatives, I'm showing you Spanish. For new representatives, this is a really great incentive because it piggybacks again on the Kickstart program. It piggybacks on Build Like a Boss. These two incentives are going on at the same time. So throughout the next week, while you're racking up your tickets, you're also getting closer to your goals for your rapid promotion. Now, one thing that I want to share with you guys, Omni asked how I juggle a full-time job and building my Avon business. Girl. I'm just kidding. Again, it comes down to planning. I work on my calendar and I work in the free time I have. One of the things I love about this business is that it is something that you can do in your free time. So I just look at the free time I have. You don't realize how much extra time you have until you start to put things into those slots. I use what I call the I took a budgeting class the other day, and a financial planning class, I should say, and it taught us about the zero budget. So what you do is you basically say, okay, this is how much I'm earning, and you allocate every single dollar to something. So you're at the end, you should have like 0 random money if you put a whatever money into your rent, whatever money into your gas, whatever money into your extracurricular activities. But there's every single dollar of your paycheck is put towards something, savings, gas, whatever. So I do the same thing with my calendar. And, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But what I try to do is say, okay, we all have the same 24 hours. This is my week, Monday through Saturday. Sunday is my time off. But I look at my calendar and I say, okay, these are the hours that I'm sleeping, block those off. These are the hours that I'm working, block them off. These are the hours that I now have free. So I look and I say, okay, I've got like, half an hour on the train, an hour during lunch, 2 hours after work, before I have to cook dinner, or whatever it is. And I just try to allocate something to each of those slots. I am big on action steps. You guys hear me talk about them a lot. Those are the steps that get you closer and closer to your goals. Um, Productive activities like talking to your customers, talking to your teammates, following up with your leads, following up with your customers. For me, it's recording social media, taking photos for my blog, whatever it is that I need to do are my action steps. I have a list of all the things that I need to do, and I just put each of those things into a calendar slot. So my calendar looks full. And you might say, oh my gosh, that's crazy. I don't want to, have all 24 hours of my life blocked out, but I also block out, like I said, Sunday is my time. I do have time blocked out for my family. Friday afternoons, when most of my family is all home at the same time, which is rare, or all home and awake at the same time, that's rare. I have like an hour blocked out where I'm like, this is chill time with my family. This is cleaning time. This is laundry time. This is a time that I'm hanging out with the girlfriends. The work activity. So I try to put everything into the calendar, and again, work in progress as well. So Omni, definitely doable. And I don't even have the most stressful job. Like architecture is stressful, but there are people on my team who are holding down a job and a half, and kids and husbands, and PTA meetings, and other things. It's just surprising how much you can get done when you have goals and when you have that determination to accomplish those goals. I do have a link on my blog where I shared some time management and planning tips. I will find those links and I will post them in the comments box when we finish this live. But great question, Omni. Thank you for asking. So with the rapid incentive, you might have gotten started and you might say, okay, well, I've already passed my 3 campaigns, or I've already passed my 6 campaigns. But that doesn't mean that you should just stop and say, okay, well, I've missed those bonuses. I'm not going to get it. Like I said, sometimes I will earn an incentive within the last campaign or last couple of days. So you have overall 13 campaigns to get this $3,000 goal. I would say work backwards from there. Knowing that you have 13, how many do you need to have at 6 campaigns? How many do you need to have at 3 campaigns? Maybe you missed the 3 campaigns, but that doesn't mean you're out of the race. You're still tracking for 6 and 9 and 12 before you're 13. So that's where knowing your timetable and your schedule comes in handy. I've encouraged my team to use this handy calendar that Avon came out with that helps you say, okay, well, I placed my first order in campaign 5. So I know that I have, in order to qualify for the rapid promotion, I need to hit bronze ambassador by campaign 7. Okay, yeah, we're kind of past campaign 7. So that means that I can still hit silver ambassador by campaign 10, gold ambassador by campaign 13, and bronze leader by campaign 17. So just because you've missed the first column, exit out and keep on going. In the same way that I make my list of contacts and say, okay, these are the people I had planned to work with, but they're not working out. Take my colored pens, cross out the ones that aren't working, fill in new ones. So your first goal was maybe to reach bronze ambassador. If you missed it, great. If you didn't, cross it out. What's your next goal? What's your next deadline? How are you going to work towards that? Usually now you have to probably crunch. Maybe your goal in the beginning was 3 people in your first 3 campaigns. Maybe now you have another 3 campaigns to make 6 instead. So now you double down and you kind of have to work a little bit harder. But just, you shouldn't be afraid of having to work a little bit harder. You shouldn't be afraid of having to push past maybe initial failure, or the fear of not accomplishing. And I think that initial fear is the biggest obstacle for most people. That is the biggest thing that we need to get out of our way. But that's why I want to encourage you to go for, any one of these incentives. Go for, I mean, I would say go for all of them. But when you can convince yourself, and when you could see that it's possible for you to hit one, then when the next one comes around, instead of you, oh no, I don't think that, then you're like, okay, look, I did it last time, I'm gonna try to do it this time. I don't know if I'm gonna make it, but I'm gonna try. And even that mindset of, okay, I'm gonna, really work to get this and see if I can get there, most of the time will get you a lot further, if not to the actual win itself. So go for these incentives, guys. Rapid is still going on. It's from 5 to campaign 13. We haven't finished campaign 10 yet, and then we have another 3 campaigns to go. So even if you're at the very, very end, still work on whatever your next goal is, because you're not going to know unless you get there. And so what? Maybe you don't make it to bronze leader, but you make it to silver ambassador. Guess what? You're like halfway, a little less than halfway there towards your next goal. Trust me, I've been around with Avon long enough to know there's going to be another incentive. So that is another thing that I probably should have put in my pre-flight checklist. But set yourself up for future success. You don't want to be a person who only starts working when there's an incentive. Like I said, when I first started with my who do you know list, my list of contacts, some of the names on there were people that I had made contact with before who it wasn't the right time for them. And I also said that sometimes a name that I do have on my list, maybe now when I'm contacting them, they're saying, okay, no, not right now, call me in another 6 months. I said I erased them from that list, but I don't erase them from my life or my contact list unless they specifically say, leave me alone, Georgie, I don't want to do this. In which case we have to respect their opinion and not contact them. Avon policies, and also just, friendly policies. You don't, someone says no, just back off a little bit. They know where to find you when they're ready. But so those people that I've taken off the list, I might have erased them from here, but they're still in my contact list. That we're still Facebook friends, or real life friends or whatever. When the next incentive rolls around, I'm like, oh look, 6 months have passed. It's time for me to reach out to that person again. Maybe it wasn't the right time for them before, but it's the right time for them now. And I have had people who were on my initial list for whatever incentive, who maybe they didn't work out for that incentive, but they came through for another incentive. So, you really want to be constantly building your network and your contact list. The more new people you connect with, the more potential and more possibilities you have for adding these names to your list for success and growth with your business and your incentives. But if you're just starting off and you're brand new and you're like, I don't have anyone, I've been there too. It doesn't mean that you can't make it. When I did the 30 and 30, like I said, my team wasn't huge. I didn't have a huge contact list. I don't think any of those initial names that I had, maybe one or two, were people who actually signed up within that time frame. But what did I do? I got out there and I said, I need 30. I don't have 30 right now, but I need to get them. So what do? I need to go out there and meet new people. I need to go out there and make new contacts. I made my sample lists, my sample packs. I've got videos on that. Milagros has got videos on that. I put my brochures in my bag and I pounded the pavement. After work, just an hour or two per day. And even for Bermuda, Bahamas. Even for the Bahamas trip, I took my lunch hour every day and I went out and my goal was to just talk to 5 people within my lunch hour. On top of the contacts that I was already making, I wanted to add 5 new contacts to my list. So I would go out during my lunch hour and I would stay out for the hour to get the 5 names. Most of the time, thankfully, I was able to make it, but there were some days where I didn't get all 5. So what? I had 2 or I had 3 new people to add to my list. Great. Some of them became customers. Some of them became new team members. Some of them are still on my list for me to contact and reach out to, waiting for them to find the right time in their life to realize that how great of an opportunity this is. So, don't knock those daily habits. We've been pounding in the power of five, the power of five, the power of five, the power of five. Talk to five people a day, make five new contacts a day, whether it's a power hour during your lunch break or half an hour before lunch, in the morning before work, and half an hour after work if you're not working at all, and it's while you're in the laundromat. I remember when I first got started, I was so enamored with a leader who told me when she goes to do laundry, she talks to the people around her. Captive audience, they don't have anywhere to go, their clothes are in the dryer. And that resonated with me. And when I first started going to build my business, I started in the laundromats because I was like, okay, my laundry's not going anywhere. You're not going anywhere, friend. So let's chat it up for 45 minutes. And you'll be surprised. But it's I think we're always looking for the huge, like, what is the massive thing that I need to do to get from point A to point B? But it's not really the massive thing. It's, us talking about eating the frog or eating the elephant, or the other day we were talking about moving a mountain. It's the small things, the small bites, the small stones, the small pebbles. And what gets us most of the time is not that the mountain is so huge, but because, our little efforts seem so small, we stop doing them and we never get to the point where we see the larger impact. Last side note before I end, the other day I was going through my contact list and I've got about 500 names on there for customers, maybe another, I don't even know how much because I keep sorting the list and filtering out contacts. But you know now there's probably almost 1,000 names in my contact database, whether they're customers or people who might have expressed some semblance of an interest in the opportunity. And I was kind of looking at the list the other day and I was like, I remember when my list was a page on a notebook. These were all the people I know, all the leads, all the contacts, when I first started my business. And I just had this moment of remembering that. And I was just like, I've come a long way. And it wasn't like, oh yeah, Georgie, good job. It was just like, huh, those five contacts, those three contacts, those few events. Like, I have the notes for where I met the person, and sometimes I could see a block of maybe 12 or 13 names from a particular event that I did. Or sometimes it's a block of five, Saturday afternoon at laundromat. There's a little small block, but I was looking at the sum of all my small efforts, and you know, by themselves, two or three new names doesn't seem like a big deal. But looking at the whole, I was like, this is, not too bad of a list, And I'm still working on some of the names. I'm still working on some of the contacts, but at least I have those names to add to my list to reach out to contact. There's that potential for more. And as long as there's potential, there's possibilities. And that's what I live on. I just need the fumes of the possibility high. And that'll be enough to help me to move through. And I just want to encourage you guys again, don't take yourself out of the running for incentives. I don't know what I just dropped, but ignore it until something comes crashing down. Don't ignore the incentives. Try to go for them. You might surprise yourself. And then once you do, that barrier that you've put up in your mind that separates you from those people is gone. And, you become one of those people and you could just rock it. And then two, don't take for granted those small efforts. It may, like right now, maybe you've gone out and you've talked to 25 people and you feel like, no, this is just not working. But those 25 people are potential. They're possibilities. They might be your connection to your next superstar, or they might be your next superstar, but right now it's just not the time. Remember, even if it helps you, Georgie took about 5 years to get going with her business because she was in school and she didn't believe what her business could do for her. So, and again, I'm not even where I want to be yet with my business, but the possibility, the potential is here. The potential was there, and that's Georgie too, but she didn't see it. The time wasn't ready. And if she had quit, or if the people around me had quit on her, then I don't know if they would have been better off or not, but I know for myself, if I had quit back then, I wouldn't have gotten to see Tahiti and Bermuda, Bahamas, and I won't get to see Bermuda, God willing, in a few days too. So that same person is this same person here, but I had to go through that stuff to get here. And I know that the me here has some more stuff that she's not got to go through before she gets to where she wants to be as well. So don't look at your situation and where you are and let that shape your potential and your future. Look at the future and borrow from that and use those fumes to push yourself forward. So that's sort of my chat for tonight. Sorry, I've been neglecting the chat box. Yes, Milagros is always talking about field time. Hop on over her channel. She's always got videos and posts about the field time that she's doing. And I've got photos in my Facebook page of events I've done with my team. Sometimes I've got a teammate who's like, I got 45 minutes of my lunch break. I'm like, I'll take it. I could work with that. Where are we going? What are we gonna do? You got your books and your supplies ready? Let's do this. And that 45 minutes, maybe they find their next group of customers. Maybe they find their new teammates. You never know. Yeah, Milagros, something every day, one day at a time. Milagros even says, don't even look at the results. Just do it consistently every single day. And yeah, you kind of just like, if you just put your head down and work, whatever it is that you're doing. I remember we used to do this in architecture school too. We wouldn't want to look at our overall project. We would just work on whatever it is that we're working on, whatever detail, drawing, section, plan, or whatever. We would just work on that one thing, get it done, move on to the next thing. And then, when we were done, probably like 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, you would have like some things to put together for your final presentation. So that might help you too. If you find yourself, and Milagros, thank you for sharing that, because sometimes that's me. If you find yourself kind of getting bogged down by the results, maybe, you need to take a step back from the results and just, put your nose to the grindstone and work for a little while. And then after a while, take a step back and see how far you've come. Milagros says she needs to go to the laundromat with any clothes. And the story that this person told me, again, last story real quick, she said she used to go with like just one rag. I have to find her. I think her name was Valerie. But she would just go to laundromat with one washcloth, put it in the washing machine so she could sit there and talk to people. And it stuck with me. Sometimes I don't have stuff to wash. I'm like, pop it in. Misty says she feels that way now, but she's following me and Milagros in the videos, and she's keeping her head up and working her business hard nonstop. Yeah, Misty, that's really where it is. It's just pushing forward and not giving up, because if you are doing the work and if you are being consistent, you will start to see the results. And I'm not just telling you that. Thankfully, I can actually say that now. But there was a time in my life where people were telling it to me, and I was just kind of like, I don't see it. Sometimes I talk to Milagros and I'm like, Millie, I don't see it. And I know it can be frustrating, but just keep going. Just what's that fish from Finding Nemo say? Just keep swimming. Just keep swimming. Just keep swimming. Yeah, just keep swimming. Just keep going. Don't quit. Don't give up. If you feel like you need to take a break, maybe you just need to reevaluate your rest time. It is possible to get burned out, and it happens. But don't never quit or stop long enough where you lose your momentum. You could stop and do a quick and then get back up again. But just keep going. Just keep going. Anne Millie says free events. Yes, I love a free event. If it's free, it's for me. But so thank you guys. I hope that today's chat about preparing for incentives helps you. Avon has a lot of new ones coming out, and they always have some. So you really should be participating in every single one of them to some level. And I love that these events are becoming more and more inclusive and open to reps who are at different levels so that they can experience it. So take advantage of that. What we have now wasn't always here. So take advantage of it so that Avon will look at it and say, hey, people are doing more stuff. They like this. We'll do more of this, So thank you guys so much. Thank you for joining me. No, you guys are awesome. I love that we're having conversation going on in the chat box. I appreciate you guys talking with me. And I will be back. Oh, no, okay, I will not be back next week. I will be around though. So this week Saturday, we're going to Bermuda. Got it right that time. We're taking our cruise to Bermuda. I don't know what the Wi-Fi is going to look like, but I will be bringing my camera. I will be taking pictures. I will be probably doing live streams. You guys know me. I am attached to my phone in this hand and my camera in that hand. So you guys will be hearing about, what's happening there. So be sure to follow me on Facebook, Avon by Georgiana. I will be posting on there, and be sure to subscribe. This little picture of me in the corner, it's not just there because I like gray, even though I do. It's there because, let's see if I can get, yeah, this guy. It's not there just because, it's there because you guys need to subscribe so that you see all the cool stuff that's happening. So click on that, click subscribe, follow along, stay in touch with all the awesome things that we're going to be sharing, because I have never gone anywhere with Avon where we were just not blown away. So I am 100% expecting to be blown away. So stay tuned for all of that. And I will not be seeing you guys next week for our live training, but the following week. So full on May Madness, Mother's Day May. We've got a lot going on, and I'll be looking forward to sharing and connecting with you guys. So thank you for joining me. Have an awesome week, and keep plowing forward towards your dreams and goals. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.